The Drake Michigan podcast is sponsored by Masterpiece, the nano heavy metal detox miracle. Start your journey to freedom from toxins, heavy metals, graphene and forever chemicals. For more information and to purchase this miracle product, see the description below. The Beatles once sang, "All we need is love. Do 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 do. All we need is love. Love. Love is all we need." Hi everyone, in this Drake Michigan Valentine's Day special, we're going to be delving into everything to do with love. Love, relationships, heartbreak, separation, bouncing back, finding love again, the dating scene, how things have changed, sex. We're going to be delving into manifestation, the law of attraction, and how to use the secret to find the love of your life. And so much more besides. Past life regression. These are just a few things off the top of my head that I know I'm going to be asking today's guest, who can share a little bit more than most. This guy has literally been there, got the t-shirt, and I'm a little bit curious whether he's either the best person to ask about relationships and advice, or potentially the worst. So, let's welcome today's guest, Shaun Tunstall.
Hello, my friends.
How we doing, mate?
Good, very good.
Thanks for coming. I want to pick your brains. I want to talk about everything to do with love. The ups, the downs, the pros, the cons. And I said before in the introduction, you're the guy who's got the t-shirt. You've been there, done it, and you can probably share a lot with people. But what I want to do is I want to start off on a positive, upbeat note. We're in 2024. Mm-hmm. We're heading into Valentine's Day. When this goes out, it'll be Valentine's Day. And you're currently in the happiest period when it comes to love and relationships in your life.
Yeah.
And looking forward to Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I'm making plans in my head that, obviously, you know.
And would it be fair to say you never would have thought you would be in this position?
No, I wouldn't.
No,
I wouldn't.
So let's just tell me a little bit now. So tell us a little bit about your current relationship, your current why you're so happy.
Because it's a different relationship. You respect, you've loved, and I feel like I've more love. I feel like I've found love previous to where I've been. It's different. It's like when you find something new, you know. It's hard to explain what exactly it is because it's love, and love's hard to explain.
So your partner's name is Mandy.
Yes.
So Mandy's actually from
Zimbabwe,
and she used to live in Ireland, and she's moved to England.
Yeah.
And so obviously she would have had past relationships and past children, and you've got past relationships and past children, and obviously the timing must have been right, and you've come together, and obviously fireworks, and for the first time you feel like, I know we've spoken as well, does it feel like it's more equal?
Yeah, it does. It is so hard to explain because everybody has, you know, a relationship, and you have yours, and anyone who's you're lucky because you've been in a relationship for a very long time. But anyone who's had relationship breaks up and gone on and they go on to another relationship, there is something new in that relationship, and one of those relationships that they go on to, that will be the best, the pinnacle of any relationship they've ever had. That's where I am.
Yeah.
It's the pinnacle.
So
you feel like you've made it. So you come at a point in a relationship where you say, this is it. I've made it.
Yeah.
This is how it was supposed to be.
Because I suppose it's hard to explain because obviously when you was in a previous relationship, you might have thought that was special.
Yeah, you do.
And you feel, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you do.
It's almost like you say, well, I thought I found love until I found...
And that is how it is.
This love.
That is how it is. Hey, this ice cream's really good. Love it. I'll go to the same ice cream shop for 10 years. Love this ice cream. Oh, it's shut. Oh, I'll go here. Oh my God. Why was I bothering with that ice cream for 10 years?
And then you get to taste another ice cream.
Yeah. And you mean you both love ice cream.
And it's a great way. It's a great way of putting it. So now, since you've met this new relationship, and I think you're coming up to nearly 2 years now.
2 years it'll be.
But you've actually done more in these last 2 years than you've probably done in a lot of your previous relationships.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Like, so I know recently you've just come back from Turkey.
Yeah.
You were in Ireland, and you've been to Ireland a couple of times now, for like to meet a family and a wedding and things like that.
I went to a wedding in Ireland. Been to Zimbabwe, which I mean, I never ever thought I'd go to Africa. Never ever thought I'd go to Zimbabwe. I wrestled a couple of crocodiles, like you do. But you it's an all new experience. It's an all new, and I would, if you'd have told me this 4 years ago, no, I just thought you were absolutely confident.
And because I want to come into later, we're going to delve into law of attraction, manifestation, and this is the thing. So when you were sort of reaching or searching or looking for love, you probably could never in your wildest dreams have imagined that these doors would open. You'd find yourself in Ireland, in Zimbabwe, in just completely... And that's the miracles of the universe and how things happen, isn't it?
The only thing I would say with Ireland is... I had a reading, if you remember. I had a reading from a lady. She picked up on Ireland. Now, I'm half Welsh. There's no Irish connection. Yeah. There's only a Welsh connection. And she said, no, it's Ireland. And I cannot be Ireland. Even said to her after reading, I said, why did you say Ireland? I thought you just said Wales. No, it's everybody knows. Everybody who knows me knows how passionate I am for Wales. And she said, no, it's definitely Ireland. Definitely Ireland. 6 months later, I meet Mandy. And she used to live in Ireland, and that's the only connection. Yeah. It was already there.
It was there. It was pick up in the energy, and it's there, and it just has to come into our lives. Yeah. It's just not arrived yet. Yeah. And because we always say as well, so like when you're going through sort of a negative period or where you're feeling really down and you can't see any future, if you like, things behind the scene are being put in place. Yeah. The universe is aligning everything. It's just you're not seeing it yet.
Because you no way you can see that.
No.
There's no way you can comprehend that.
So we're really happy that you're sort of in a fantastic place now, and we'll delve into that. But it wasn't always like that. But back a few years back, if we go, would it be about 4 or 5 years now? So if we were to go back 5 years... Basically, you've been out working like you would every other day, same place, same times, blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. You come home. Do you remember? Was you on a late shift?
Come home, 2:30 in the morning. Was on a Friday night shift, work nights. Come home, went to bed. Get up on a Saturday morning. Oh, something's not right. Ask a question. What's up? Have something to tell you. I'm leaving you. I don't love you. I don't want you.
Wow.
That's at 10 o'clock. At 11, your kids are in the car and she drives off.
So you've been to work, you've been to bed, you get up and there's a bit of an atmosphere, and then suddenly you're like, what's up?
I don't think there was an atmosphere, it was just a feeling.
And it's literally like, and you never saw it coming.
No.
There was no build up.
No,
there was nothing.
No arguing, nothing.
And you'd been together how many years?
12 years. Married for just short of 10. It was 2 weeks before our 10th wedding anniversary.
Wow. And you'd not long. No, I think it'd been a year or two. But basically, you had you'd moved into a house.
Yeah.
You'd been on holidays.
Yeah.
The kids were happy.
Yeah, been fine.
There was
no problem.
No. And then suddenly, and then she just said, so obviously we don't know what's going on in someone else's head and someone else's mind. But she's decided, and she must have thought about it. It wasn't a spare of the moment thing. So
Well,
she must.
You don't do that on a Wednesday and
No.
and play it out on a Saturday, do you?
So it doesn't. So this must have been something that she's been, dealing with, and then she just says, "I'm leaving," and so at that very moment, I mean, was there any part of you just that thought, "Oh, it's just like a row," and she'll be back in a minute, or
No.
did you know straight away that she was serious and that was it, finished, over?
I even said to her, I said, if you walk out the house now, you will never walk back in it.
If you're enjoying everything that we're doing here at the Drake Michigan platform, then make sure to like, share, and most of all, subscribe, so you never miss an upcoming episode. Right?
I knew at that point.
So it was quite serious. And she literally left.
Within an hour.
Left and took the kids.
Gone.
So if I can just take you back to them first hours after that happens, I mean, you must have just been in total shock.
Yeah, the shock, you cannot prepare anyone for that. You just cannot prepare. I remember that was on the Saturday. I can't even remember what I ate, but I do remember on a Sunday I had a tin of soup, and it took me an hour to eat it. There's one thing I just remember. The shock is unreal.
And also as well, so you've gone from your partner and your kids being in the house to suddenly no one in the house.
Yeah.
And that must be...
Yeah, the house is empty.
I can imagine that being as hard as anything.
That was one of the hardest things.
Yeah.
Because anybody knows, if you have a family in an house, there's life in that house, there's an heartbeat. And when that's gone, there's nothing. There's just silence. And it's the silence that starts eating away.
Yeah. So over those coming days then, after she's left and look, she's not coming back, this is serious. What kind of thoughts are going through your head now? How do you even start to think about moving forward? Or, I mean, did you still go to work?
Yeah, because the show must go on. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
The show must go on, and went in work and worked. It probably helped, because you've a focus. But obviously, it's controlling your mind.
Yeah, so even while you're at work, you'd be constantly...
Yeah, it's constantly in your head. Why? How's this happened? Why has this happened? You're constantly questioning yourself.
Yeah.
Is it me? You're constantly blaming yourself.
And was there any suggestion? Did you think, oh, there must be another man? Or... Because if she just left, all sorts must have been going through your head. You must have been thinking, has she been having an affair?
That's the first thing you think. As a man,
yeah,
that's the first thing you think.
Yeah, because it didn't make sense otherwise.
It doesn't make sense, no.
No.
It does not make sense. I think even a woman would say, it's got another man.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Especially if there's not been any rows or build-ups to it, or it just... And even if the love wasn't there, you'd think, like, you would talk about it. Or try and work your way
that's
through
where
it.
The relationship is communication, isn't it? If people don't talk about things, you don't get anywhere, do you?
No. And I think that's a problem we have with society these days. I mean, older generations, they work their way through problems, and they tend to, and there used to be a thing of like sticking around until the kids were older. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but there used to be a different thought pattern.
Yeah.
Whereas now it seems
process,
it seems it's all too easy to just up and leave. And
it is
for the person who's doing it, not the person who's left behind.
Yeah. It is. It is too easy. But if there's somebody else there,
it makes more sense then, doesn't it?
Yeah. There's always somebody else. 99.9% of times.
And if not someone else, then they've had their head turned or something's happened.
Yeah. Which
is just as
still
bad.
Equals there's somebody else.
Yeah. Because if a partner is even acting differently or even having a conversation outside of what they would normally do, and like sort of they've had even if it's just a tension, that's pretty as bad as...
When you're going outside those boundaries, there's a thing, if you're flirting with somebody else, you're giving your energy to another person, another man, another woman.
If you're in love with someone, I don't think you think like that.
You don't. No, you don't.
You don't even look like that.
You don't even think.
Like you know.
Yeah.
Well, you could have a conversation. Like when you're at work, you could have spoke to a female colleague, but that thought doesn't enter your head. It's just, morning.
No, because it's just
because you're in love, you're married.
Yeah.
And also, you've got a ring on your finger which says, "I'm committed." We're committed to each other until death do us part, and all that kind of stuff.
No, but that's true.
So now, without dragging up too much pain again, but this wasn't your first marriage.
No, that's my second marriage.
That's your second marriage. So you had 2 children, 12 years, and literally just got up and walked out. But before that, you'd actually been married again.
Married, yeah.
And had a child.
Yeah.
And she had kids from a previous relationship. And how long was that? How long was you together?
I'm not good with timelines. Maybe together 4 or 5 years, possibly.
4 or 5. What in total?
I can't even. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, that's. You can't even remember.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a. So it's a bit like regression now.
So was it?
Look back.
Yeah. Well, we'll go into that as well. So was that a whirlwind? Like you met each other and just like decided to get married?
Met each other and worked and then we bought a house and lived with each other. And just decided, you know what? Let's get married. Had a kid. I think my eldest son, he was 1 when we split up.
But when you got together, like again, so this is what I said. At that time, you probably would have thought you'd found love, and that that one was the
exactly, you do
forever.
Yeah. At that point in your life, you think that,
but yet now you look back and you probably, I'm not saying regrets, but you might say. You could probably look at it from another angle and say we wasn't compatible. I
just think,
why did we do that?
What was I doing there? What was I doing? Why did I end up in that situation? But you end up in these situations because one relationship ends and then you're looking for love.
Yeah, that's
the thing. Love is the most important thing, but you're looking for love.
And because it's not it's not a nice feeling, I would have thought, if you think you can't find love or you're never going to be loved again.
No, it's not a nice feeling. No.
So when someone comes along, shows you that affection and that love, if you like, then suddenly it's like, because it's nice to be loved, isn't it? It's nice to be liked, but it's even better to be loved.
It's everybody wants to be loved. Everybody. There's not. I don't believe there's a person on earth who says, I don't want to be loved.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be loved. And it is the greatest thing to know. You can look up in the stars and know that someone out there loves you.
Yeah. So do you think growing up was part of you, is that all you ever wanted? Or
I had love anyway. I come from a really good childhood where we knew we were loved.
Yeah.
So the importance on love is really strong.
Yeah.
Because you've felt love all your life.
So you've had a very loving, solid foundation, a family unit, the nucleus.
Well, love was the most important thing.
So then that took you into your very first relationship where you would have been like, 16, 17?
Yeah, 17.
And I mean, at that age, we probably don't even know what love is. We're just attracted to.
Yeah, because you're young.
We're sexually attracted to people. And then one thing leads to another. But in your case, you ended up with a lady, and then she was pregnant.
Yeah. So I was a dad at 19.
Right. And you
just turned 19.
You don't really see many kids at that age now, do you? And like in the 90s, there was a thing where like kids were having kids.
Yeah.
But now,
I was one of them.
right? But now we see people who are still at home at 25, 35. Yeah. They're not getting married. They're not having kids. They're not even getting their own house.
No.
They're like big children themselves.
Even, yeah.
do you know what I mean?
There's men and women at TRGs of age.
We're still acting like kids, aren't they?
They wouldn't be able to change a nappy. It just wasn't.
No. And I'm sure there's, there will be others out there who want, but that seems to be, times have changed a lot, haven't they? So
much, and I'm not saying it's good having kids when you're young, 'cause it's not. It's hard. But surely it's not good if you're into your 30s and you've still not started a family.
No, because how do you know that's going to be you know what I mean? What if that relationship breaks down and then you're too old to have, I don't know.
Well, look at Rod Stewart. You're never too old.
You're never too old, yeah. There's some people out there.
Yeah.
But that first relationship, so you that didn't last that long, did it?
Well, no, I suppose it didn't. I was 17. I was dad at 19. I suppose.
So a couple of years.
At 20. That was over. I was a single parent. I brought my daughter up from 18 months, 2 years of age. So at 21, I was a single parent.
So you've met someone, obviously. Did you live together or anything, or?
Well, yeah, we did live together. Yeah, we did.
So you were like a proper.
Oh yeah. So you weren't just so. Oh, I'm not bothered about this. It was. I'm trying.
Yeah.
But it's, if there's only one of you trying.
That's right. Now, and the reason why she, the lady in question there, she liked to drink, didn't she?
She would rather go to a pub than bring up her own daughter. That's the truth. That's the fact.
So that would have been difficult. And the thing is that we also, and you're very passionate about this, when you start mixing things like going out and drinking, one thing leads to another. Whether that's infidelity, whether it's drugs, and it's a pattern.
Yeah.
And people might say, "Oh no, that is true. That is what normally happens."
Mm-hmm.
But it's almost like if you put yourself in a position where there's opportunity, you can create the mess. Really,
you're putting yourself out there.
So
we put ourselves in every situation.
Yeah, so we do have to take a bit of responsibility for our own actions.
Of course you do. It's the most important thing, responsibility.
So she's obviously would rather have gone and had a drink, and then so who ended that relationship? Was it her or was that you? Or?
Well, do you know, it was her, because I was trying, and again, I was told, I don't want you, I don't love you.
Right.
So it's not the first time.
No.
So I'm a bit of an expert at this.
And as a man, I mean, and again, women, share their side of the story as well. But to have somebody say to you like, "Oh, I don't love you. I don't want to be with you,"
it's not a good thing.
That can really hurt.
That's not a good thing.
Yeah, that can.
When
imagine.
someone looks you in the eyes,
yeah,
and says those words to you,
and then and to having to move on after that, but now the thing is now. There's a kid.
You have a child as well.
So now you've got that responsibility. Yeah. So when you've got that responsibility as well, so after that relationship, did you think, I'm just not interested in a relationship for a bit?
I had one date in 6 years.
After that first one?
One date in 6 years.
Yeah. And was that because you just thought, I'm not interested?
Yeah. Because you kind of like, it creates hatred in you. And then... You kind of like, you watch people and you judge people. You judge women then. And you don't see the good.
So do you think, obviously, after that, it really affected the way you looked or thought about women and relationships?
Oh, definitely. It probably affected, I probably didn't know this myself, it probably affected my persona. It probably affected my body language.
Right. Because not all women are like that.
No,
because you'd had such a bad... experience.
When you have a bad experience,
and then you're left now with a child to bring up.
This weren't just I'd rather just go and have a drink. This would I'd rather have a drink. I'd rather cheat on you. I'm not bothered about the child. This was an horrific experience.
Yeah, and at a young age
for a young lad.
Yeah,
who didn't have any experience with women.
So and did you find yourself living back at home then as well? Didn't you?
Luckily, I had my mum and dad.
Yeah.
Who helped me.
Yeah,
I couldn't have done it without them.
But being a young man coming back home with a kid and saying to your mum and dad, it's not worked out.
No,
and
that's hard.
But also having them responsibilities, but all you wanted to probably do was go and cry and curl up in a ball.
Yeah.
You probably couldn't, because you would have had all these feelings and emotions.
God, yeah.
And then also you would have had the anger and the bitterness.
Yeah.
Toward...
Definitely.
So, and that's something I want to come on to later on as well, because I know when we've spoke before, and we disagree a little bit on this, I always say to you, I wish you wouldn't, but anger has got you through large periods of your life, hasn't it?
People think anger's a negative emotion. It's not.
No, you've got a different
that emotion.
You've got a different feeling.
It's how you use that emotion.
Yeah.
Anger can get you through.
Yeah.
When a boxer goes into a ring and he gets punched in the face, do you think he's angry? Of course he's angry.
Yeah.
It gets him through that, and he wins that boxing match. Of course he was angry. And he's used that emotion to win that boxing match.
So
when he's won, he's not angry then.
Yeah. He lets it go then, doesn't he?
Every emotion can be used in a positive or a negative. Every emotion. It's how you use it.
Interesting. Because I've always said to you, I've always worried about, don't send out...
Yeah.
Don't send out any anger or... but the thing is, you can't turn your back on how you're feeling.
You
can't. You can say to people, look at things from a different angle and a different perspective. But ultimately, if you're feeling hurt or betrayed and you've got these feelings of anger and rage, I suppose what you can do is you can control it in the way you're not using that anger to hurt anyone else.
Yeah.
But you do have an anger towards the situation.
Yeah. And I never used my anger towards anybody else.
Yeah.
But I knew it was burning inside me.
Yeah.
I always knew it would burn inside me. And that is what got me through.
After the first relationship, obviously you've got a kid now, you're back at home, you're living with mum and dad. There's been like a 5-6 year gap. You would have had time to really sort of ponder in your thoughts and everything else. And then suddenly you find yourself in your job and you start talking to someone. You're just a work colleague, and obviously female work colleague, and suddenly you must have thought there's a bit of a connection, some kind of.
Probably not at first because I'm a bit oblivious, but eventually you just get on with someone, aren't you? And I suppose it works from there, doesn't it?
So, because what I know as well from speaking to you in that relationship is, obviously there must have been some attraction, but she had a background similar of, failed relationship, being hurt, that kind of stuff. And then, so obviously when you're talking, you could probably connect and relate to each other.
Well, then, and that is how you connect with people. Because,
I'm a big advocate, and when we teach everybody manifestation, like attracts like, because everything's energy, because we're all energy. Now, so if you were in a situation in your life where you were very angry towards whether it women, relationships, being cheated on, being hurt, but also she was the opposite of that, it would make sense then how you sort of come together. And I think the way I look at it now is I think sometimes you need that. It brings people together to sort of give you confidence or faith in life again, in love again.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know? So
definitely.
I don't think we should always say, look, it was a negative. It can play its role. It can play its part.
Yeah.
But I always wonder sometimes is, have people been brought together to get them over what's happened? But that's not really the basis of a long term.
I think it is because there's a progression in life. It's like we talk about tarot cards, and it's your life, isn't it? If you put the tarot cards out, and It's a life journey, and that is in love as well.
Yeah.
There is a progression in life. Not everybody's lucky if it meets someone like you and just stay with them.
No.
You know.
Very lucky.
Well, so some people have to go through these failures in relationships, but they're like stepping stones, and you fail, and then you move on to another stone. You fail, and you move on to another. That's just how it is for some people.
The only thing is in life, though, right? So, like, you get together, you meet someone else, and then that gives you sort of a renewed confidence and trust in life again, in love, right?
Yeah.
But then what happens is, now you have another kid.
Yeah.
But now you're into your mid-20s. And now suddenly I've got 2 kids.
Even, late 20s.
Right. But so now time's getting on.
Yeah.
Right. So now you find yourself with 2 kids, time's getting on, and now suddenly, after the initial honeymoon period, if you like, and then obviously, moving together and do what society, I always say we sort of live in a world where we think that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
Get married, have kids, buy a car, get a dog, and we never really stop and just think, well, who said we have to do that?
Yeah.
So when we talk about the younger generation today, they do seem to have a little bit less, I'm not doing everything what we're told.
Well, you can't criticise that.
There's different ways of looking at it, aren't there? But what I want to say, so like now you're in your mid-20s, getting into your late 20s, a couple of kids, and now suddenly you find, and you've had all the happiness and got married again and all the rest, but now you find this relationship's not working. And was that? But this wasn't so much as a shock, though, was it? Was this part of feeling as well?
Yeah, this was different. This weren't a shock. This was There was a build.
Yes.
A build up, and you knew.
And I think you can understand that more. Like if you're feeling it as well, like you're both feeling it, like you're becoming more just friends, or you're just like there's no intimacy. It's just like it's fizzling out, really.
And I think you just you just have had enough.
But do you not find as well, just getting out of the relationship? When I've spoke to other people, I've had other friends I've spoke to, and they've stayed in relationships sometimes for a couple of years because they don't know how to get out of it. Yeah, they sort of. I mean, I've spoken with people who said, "Oh, I'm going to stick around till the kid's 18."
Yeah, I've
do you know what I mean? Like, and or you're like, hold on, so you're not happy, but so what? You're sticking around? Well, it's like, I don't want to upset them, or they don't know if the grass is going to be greener on the other side of the fence. They don't know if they're going to find love again. No. So now they just sort of stick around, and when you look at it, you think you've just wasted 2 or 3 years of your life, like pondering, just stagnating.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah,
but life's only short.
It is so short. You don't realise how short it is until it hits you.
Now, then the thing is, so like around this time would have been the first time I ever sort of met you, and we hit it off straight away, like we were mates from day one, kind of thing, weren't we? Because of football.
We're both big West Brom fans, aren't we?
Now, behave. Let's not go there. There's only one team, and it's Wolverhampton. No, but the thing is, when I met you, you were single.
Yeah.
But you was also like, I remember having conversations with you, and so you would have only been in your sort of late 20s, but you were like, "Oh, I'm done now."
Yeah.
You actually did think.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I'll never find love again now, and I think you'd resigned yourself to the fact, like, I'm just going to be single. I've got 2 kids.
Yeah.
And that was it. You're just like.
Yeah.
And I thought, when you look at it now, you think, well, you was only in your late 20s. Do you know what I mean?
I think, what was that, early 30s then? Yeah, early 30s then. And yeah, I just thought, yeah, well, why would that happen to me?
Yeah. And also, now you've got the pain of, obviously, the first one would have hit you more painful. That left you very angry.
Yeah.
The second one was more a bit of both, if you like. Yeah. It sort of fizzled out. Yeah. But ultimately, that would have still left you with feelings of, oh, here we go again.
It was failure.
Is that how you see it? Did you feel it?
You fail, yeah.
Do you feel? And what is it, failure in the relationship, or do you think you failed for the kids?
I think sometimes you failed. I think both. I think you feel failure in a relationship, but you feel failure with your kids. You know, you failed your kids because, like you say, we're programmed to, you know, you're a father and you've got to look after your kids, and then all of a sudden, you're putting your kids in this situation. Yeah. You feel like you failed.
Yeah. And then, because your mum and dad were still alive at this point, weren't they?
Yeah.
So, how did you go back and have that conversation?
Well, that's it. And you just
because I think, did you move back home again?
Eventually, yeah.
You moved back home again?
Yeah, eventually, yeah.
And it's like, so, I mean, your parents probably would never have turned around and go, you know...
No, my wouldn't, because that's how I was brought up. But you go back again and you have to say, I failed again.
Yeah. And we can be really hard on ourselves, can't we, there, saying we failed. And it's not really... Because it's life and it takes two.
Yeah.
Relationships are not easy.
No,
and do you not think we put ourselves under too much pressure to make them... So, do you not, like, you know, because of society and magazines and films and everything else, do you not think people think relationships are supposed to be something more than what they are?
They probably do. They probably do. And I am a romantic. I am like that.
Yeah.
I do. You want that perfection.
Yeah.
But I think when you fail, you end up looking for perfection even more.
Right.
Because if there's any signs, those failure signs, you're on red alert.
After that, your first marriage there, when that's what... At that point, did you look at yourself and think, I could have done more, or I've not been a good partner, or did you just feel it like, it's just fizzled out and it wasn't...
No, I never thought I could have done more.
No.
I honestly never thought I could have done more.
Yeah. Because a man's role, or perceived as well, especially from an older generation, is like, look, I'm going out to work, I'm putting food on the table, I'm earning the money, you're at home, you're looking after the kids. And I know the times are changing, but that's definitely sort of the back end of an era, what we've come from as well. Yeah. So you felt like, look, I was not doing anything wrong here.
I honestly thought I could not have done any more. Obviously, it's two sides to every story.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But to me, as a man, I could not have done any more.
Yeah. Well, that's fair enough. Again, because you don't want to beat yourself up if that's...
No, I do not. Those two relationships, I do not beat myself up.
Yeah.
Maybe at one time I would have done.
Yeah.
But no, because I did everything I could in that first one, and I ended up bringing my daughter up, and I did everything I could in my second one.
Yeah.
It's just as simple as that.
So did that, after that, make you feel very angry towards women then? Or basically the women that you'd attracted into your life?
Well, yeah,
because
I suppose you never even think about it. You think, why am I attracting these women? Why am I attracting women
you wouldn't
that
have known
maybe
then,
don't
would
fit
you?
me, or is it me what doesn't fit them? Is it, you ask yourself all these questions, but no, you wouldn't know. And I didn't know about the law of attraction then.
No, you wouldn't have understood like energy and all that kind of stuff then.
So it's totally different, and you just why? I used to say, God, why me? Why have you done this to me? Why?
Yeah.
You know, I used to think, do you know what? When I die, I'm going to get up there. I'm going to get to them gates. I'm going to say, listen, why? What's that about?
It's sometimes in life it's hard to. You think, you're like, oh, if this is some kind of bigger lesson, I just don't get it. It just doesn't make any sense, does it?
No, just because why have you put me through this pain?
Yeah.
And it's
hard to say.
It's
like
emotional pain, and that's worse than physical pain. Why have you put me through that?
Yeah. And the thing is as well, so like some people will say there is like, you know, why have you put me through that? But then other people will say, no, you've put yourself because you wanted to experience that. But that's hard to take as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's very hard to take. That's very hard because I never wanted to experience what I went through.
No. And also as well, you wouldn't want to bring children into a world of split families and not having the best for them.
No.
Like you can do the best you can for them, but you know it's going to be difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, so and then obviously we don't know what long-term effects that has on the kids.
No.
Like we could say to our children, no, you've always been brought up with love, but in that kid's head, They might have just saw mum and dad split up, and that might have had a longer term.
That's totally different. I have 4 children, and they come from broken homes.
Yeah.
I was a child who did not come from a broken home. The disappointment is there.
And that we talk about energies. Now, you've come from an energy of a solid nucleus family.
Yeah.
But yet in your life, you've had, like, carnage. Now I am the opposite to that.
Yeah.
Because I come from a background of carnage, if you like.
Yeah, because obviously you came from
I don't know
broken home. No,
I don't know my real
no.
mom and all this lot. But yet, I've found a relationship, and like, I mean, we don't know what's around the corner, but 27 years later,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's complete
opposite to the energy of what I was.
Yeah.
Now, maybe from my point of view, I might say, maybe on some level, the energy I was giving out, I really wanted a solid relationship because I never had one as a kid.
Possibly, yeah.
But then that would be wrong, because I don't believe you would say, I'm giving out an energy, I want carnage because I've had...
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense,
No, it doesn't make sense at all. If you speak to anyone who's been brought up in a loving home where parents together and never fell out, never got divorced, anything like that, if you speak to people who come from that background, they would not say, do you know what, Belton, when I get out there, you know what, I think I'll have a relationship and then I'll split up and I'll have some kids and I'll do it again and I'll do it again. No, that will never, ever happen.
I tell you what, I used to think growing up. You used to meet lads or friends again or whatever, and let's say they'd come from a broken home and they'd not seen the dad, and then when they got into a relationship and then the partner got pregnant, they'd go, "I'm going to be the best dad ever, and I'm going to make sure I never leave like my dad left me." Right?
Yeah.
But what they actually did then was they put so much pressure on themselves, what didn't need to be there, because it's almost like, well, just enjoy being a dad. What's this thing of, and then what happens then later on, they end up splitting up.
Yeah. And
they become everything that they didn't want to
be, yeah.
To happen.
Yeah, yeah. That is true.
And I've found that as well, is that when we give off these frequencies and energies, if you're constantly worried about relationships or like your partner's going to cheat or it's going to fail or it's not going to work, I think we can sometimes bring its demise.
Yeah, no, I agree with that as well. But when you've been in that situation and it's happened to you, it's very hard not to have a worry about that as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's patterns.
Yeah.
And you don't want them patterns to keep happening.
And also you'd always be on your guard, like looking for red flags. Looking for the same signals what you've seen before.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Oh, she never used to go out and now suddenly she wants to go out.
Yeah. So you were more switched on.
Yeah.
Which I suppose it's a protection. Yeah. It's trying to protect yourself.
Now, I'll just fast forward a little bit then, because I know after your first marriage, like you never thought you'd found love again. You were single for quite a few years again then, weren't you? And then suddenly, partly probably my fault a little bit there as well, and partly your fault. So we ended up going off to one of these spiritual shops and all the rest of it. Yeah. And probably definitely under circumstances what you never set out for that. I know you never went looking for love.
No.
But you actually found someone who showed you attention. Mm-hmm. And I've looked at this a few times over the years, especially with everything what's happened now. And I wonder if, because you were single and you never thought you were going to find love again, when someone showed you attention, that felt like love.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Because you were someone who you'd looked after your kids, you just worked, and you wasn't really out there. No. Like, you wasn't around female women, you wasn't in the clubs, you wasn't dating. Back in the day, there wasn't phones where we swiped and all this lot. So suddenly you found yourself, because we didn't really go out that much either, as in, like, we go to the football maybe. Yeah. So suddenly we found ourselves in a new set of circumstances, around new people, and then suddenly this lady shows you attention, which must have felt good.
Yeah, because you want to be liked.
Yeah, and I think even now, it's nice when if somebody looked at you that way or showed you a bit of it's flattering, isn't it? It's kind of, you know, I think I don't know if I'm wrong there. I think we all like attention. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if you're single, then you think to yourself, well, oh God, attention.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying like even if a relationship like anything would ever happen, but it's I don't know if it's a man thing. Like you think, oh, I've still got it, or I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking wrong. Yeah,
it doesn't think of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, the attention then, and obviously you think, oh, hey, what's happening? This is something happening here.
Yeah, because obviously then from initial attraction, if you like, then suddenly that might lead into a date, and then that might, you know, after a few dates, or that might actually lead then to sex, right? And without being too vulgar, and we could go in a whole, I call it the pussy trap, because women have an amazing power over men. Do you know what I mean? That's the way I've always seen it, and especially from people I know. I think sometimes if a man's having sex, it can confuse that with love. That's my, you know what I mean?
I think that depends on the man, because some women can just have sex.
See, I don't know how to do that, me.
No, I don't. Some men and some women can only have sex with an emotional connection.
So like, I've got friends who just go out and have sex. Now I don't know if it was like, it's definitely I think a British thing as well. Right, like in other countries, they're a bit more relaxed about the whole subject, aren't they? Right, but in Britain, I think we're a bit stiff upper lip and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Even talking about it, we're a bit prudish in that, right? But I have got friends who literally will go out and sleep with anything, man and women. I know men and women, and they'll sleep with anything, right? And they're just like, oh, I'm out, I'm having a good time. I could never imagine myself ever doing that.
Well, no, I mean,
because if there's not an attraction there or a feeling for that person, why would you want to then sleep with them?
No, I mean, for me, you know me, you have to be emotionally connected. Otherwise, it's a waste of energy. It is. You are swapping energy with somebody.
Yeah.
You know, you do not get closer than that. And for me, it's just over my head. Always has been, always will be.
I know, and then it's like, cause like again, and you know, I know people who have like sort of they have open relationships or they've gone into like swinging, and I just think, can you imagine breakfast the next morning? I just don't. Do you know what I mean? I just don't get it.
No. For me, it's just as.
And I don't know if that's
bizarre.
I don't know if I'm a prude or I'm too closed to the way they're thinking. But for me, I tell you what, I think I'm a bit old fashioned. I think it's really like personal, especially sex, and you know what I mean. And it's like, why would you want to just share that with anybody? I don't know.
Why would you want to take your clothes off in front of just anybody?
I don't know if I'm a little bit old fashioned like that.
Well, I know I was exactly the same. And if people are going into relationships and the swinging, and that's not love.
It could be, can it?
It's not love.
Yeah. But you hear people who say, no, I love them, but then they're having an open relationship, and
they're deluded.
It is deluded.
It's delusional. Yeah. It's delusional.
And this what baffles me. And what's called I thought this had come up because it's like we both know people, right? And they proclaim that they're in love and their partner's everything to them.
Yeah.
But we know they're cheaters.
Yeah.
And we know what they're doing behind the back. But and men and women, we've worked with men and women who they're out there cheating.
Yeah.
They're lying. They're cheaters. I know spiritual people who are saying one thing to everybody else, and behind the scenes, they're just, and it baffles me. It absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, we used to know someone who thought he was like a great healer.
Yeah.
And he couldn't keep his flies up. He associated healing someone with affection, love, and opportunity to have.
Opportunity. Yeah.
And I don't understand that.
No.
So do you think people are getting confused when it comes to love? And lust?
It's lust, it's not love.
It's lust, isn't it?
There's a massive difference between lust and love.
Yeah.
You know, love's like that. Lust is not.
Yeah. And because when you first meet someone, you have like that honeymoon period where, you know, you're all out, you can't, you know, you're just all into each other. You lock yourself away for 6 months from the world.
Yeah.
And maybe people are just constantly after that in a relationship. But it's not realistic, is it? It's not like that.
If you could buckle that, we'd be millionaires.
It'd be 800.
It'd be millionaires.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
If you could buckle that feeling.
Yeah.
You know, but it's not realistic. It's not. Yeah. And if you take that feeling, if you work at it and you're out for each other, that feeling will get stronger and stronger and stronger and better and better and better.
Yeah, because if you're into each other, you can keep that spark.
Of course,
alive.
of course you can.
Do you know, I mean, even without the sex, you can still have that. I just want to be with you.
It's the connection.
Do you know what I mean? If you want something badly enough, I always think when you're at first out in a relationship, you'll cancel everything to make sure you go on the date.
Yeah.
And then you'll speak to people who are 3-4 years into a relationship, and it's like they can't even be asked answering the phone to the partner.
Exactly.
And it's like, well, where did the spark go?
Yeah.
When did you stop losing interest? Now, that could be kids. It could be lack of intimacy in the bedroom. There could be a number of reasons. But somewhere along the line, they've become disconnected. Yeah, they've stopped having that passion for each other.
Yeah. And that's down to the individual.
Yeah. And I think in places like America, they work a lot on relationships and counselling and, you know, keeping things. Yeah. And in England, we don't seem to do that so much, do we?
That's English for you.
It's English, yeah. So, and just Roscoe, I'll tell you what, and you'll know as well, yeah. So, one of the worst things I've found is when we've got secrets, as in we know stuff about other people. Yeah. Right. And what pisses me off is, like, these people might not be in our lives now. Mm-hmm. Like, I know people like what we worked with 20 years ago. Yeah. Right. And we knew they were cheats then. Yeah. I would just partier. Would you not love to go and knock on the door and tell their husband or their wife? I think
it'd be a good television programme.
Well, I tell you why. I don't know if you've asked this. It eats me up inside. I hate holding other people's secrets. That's one thing, right? Because I always think, why should I? It's not. Why am I holding on to your secret? And I tell you what makes it even worse. If that person's done you wrong.
It's not so much holding on to someone's secret. It's I totally disagree with it.
Yeah, you're really.
I totally disagree with that behaviour.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I feel like I hate holding the secret, because I think it's so wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I just totally disagree with that kind of behaviour, and doing something like that, and then the partner not even knowing, not even taking responsibility for your actions.
I know.
That's the key. You're not taking responsibility. You think that's okay if they do that.
I know. And then they convince themselves.
Like, they do. They convince themselves it doesn't happen.
They tell everyone, or they throw a part. Oh, we're renewing our vows.
Yeah.
Perfect marriage.
Yeah.
Perfect marriage, and then like you see we know people as well who their children are repeating their pattern of their parents. Yeah. They're cheats. Yeah. And you're just like, you're looking at it from an outsider, and you're like, I just don't get it.
No.
Because so that surely that can't be love.
Well, it's not. It is not love.
Because the thing is, you're somebody who's you've been cheated on, right? So if you know that pain, why would you then do it to someone else?
You wouldn't.
I don't believe you would you?
No, you wouldn't. You would not. If you know the true pain, you would not bring that pain on anyone else.
Do you think a lot of people cheat because they don't know how to get out the relationship?
I think some do. I think some do, and hope it.
It's almost like a catalyst to make it blow up.
Hope it happens, and they get found out, and then it's easy to walk away. I think.
And also they're sort of feathering a new nest, like almost getting it ready. Yeah. So they don't have to go through that lonely period.
Yeah, exactly. There's a transition for them, which is easier.
Yeah.
I think people do do that. But I think some people just want to go out and cheat and not leave the partner. I think some people are ruthless, absolutely ruthless.
Do you know when someone comes back and like they're a cheat? I mean, if you cheat once, it doesn't matter if you cheat once or 10 times. It's cheating.
You're yeah.
But you know when they come back to the relationship and they say, "I love them," oh, I'm absolutely, that. Do you think that they're deluded or are they lying to themselves? Why are you? Because if you really love someone, you wouldn't be doing that, would you?
No, you wouldn't. No. I think people kill themselves.
Do you think you can love someone while you're cheating?
No, you can't. No. Because it's just not love.
It is.
Love is a bond. Yeah. That you create with your partner.
Because you hear about like Christmas work dues and all the rest of it, and again we know. When you get to our age, you've
seen and you've heard it all, haven't you?
And what they'll do is they'll come up with excuses. Oh well, what I would do is I've had a few drinks.
A drink.
One thing led to another.
Yeah.
And you're like, really?
What drink does is alcohol takes the chains off you. So when people have a drink and they speak and they're telling you their opinion on this, that, and the other, they're actually speaking from their heart. They're actually telling you what they really, really think. But when they've not had a drink, in society you can't say them things. No. So you have to conform to rules. It's
almost like men, when they've had a drink, they've become 10 men.
Yeah.
Like, I can fight anyone now I've had a drink.
They think they can fight anybody before they've had a drink. It's just that they've not got the guts for go and fight anybody before they've had a drink.
And it is really a demon, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've come across and listen, I'm I like a little glass of sherry or brandy but as I've got older now, I've got to be honest, I can just not have it at all. And the more I'm watching and learning from your body, it doesn't need alcohol at all. It's literally it shouldn't have it at all, should it?
But it's a truth serum.
It is, isn't it?
I'm telling you, it's a truth serum. And when these people who use it as an excuse, I cheated, but I'd had a drink. It's just an excuse. They're actually acting how they really are.
And what about? And this is what baffles me, and you can understand this as well, right? So. What about people like they get caught out the cheating and the partner forgives them and allows them back into the marriage or allows them and how do they, I can't imagine ever wanting to.
I can't. But when I was younger, I did do it, and it's kind of desperate because you think no one will ever like you, no one will ever love you again.
So do you think people?
That's what that is.
So do you think people are that frightened of
frightened of losing fear? Love? Yeah.
So fear. They stick in a relationship.
Definitely.
But that's a bit similar like abuse as well. So like when men and women, when they've been abused, they stay in the relationship because I don't know. It's like a fear thing, and
it is fear. It is fear what keeps them there. It's fear what doesn't release them from that pain.
And then this again. So then everything comes back to that emotion of fear and love, which gives out that frequency, which now you're attracting. It could be 20 years from now. You're attracting stuff what you were doing 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people, like, when they talk about karma and as above is below, and it's literally all the same.
It's all related. We know karma exists.
If you're a bad person and you do bad things, whether it's this life or it has to come back.
It has to come back. It has to go around. There's no gain away.
You can't keep doing bad.
No.
I mean, I always talk about like growing up as a kid, and I was only very young, probably 4 or 5 years of age, and it was such a profound. And I used to say to my parents, and I must have brought it through from another lifetime, and it was. Whatever you do, try not to hurt people's feelings. Mm-hmm. And even as an adult, but it is true.
Yeah.
Try not to hurt. And listen, I know we do stuff and we can't help, but you know what? There's a difference between things happening and it upsets someone, but then intentionally hurting someone.
When you have that intention,
that's
not good, and that must come back round.
Yeah,
it must come back round to you.
And love being the highest frequency, the highest vibration, and the opposite of love is fear.
Yeah, but it comes back in different ways. We know it does. It doesn't come back how you send it out.
No,
it comes back in many.
It ripples in ways that you can't imagine.
It changes. It morphs.
Yeah,
but something will happen, and you will know
Yeah.
why it's done you.
And the opposite of that is, because I think if you're a good person and you give out good intentions, good thoughts, and I saw a podcast recently, and I think I've not watched all the way through, and I think Mark Devlin was asking this question, and he's like, why does bad things happen to good people? And it's hard to get our heads around it, because if you're someone who's got good morals, I'm not a biblical person, but there's a lot to be said with the Ten Commandments and all the rest of it. And if you treat people how you want to be treated, and you know, and you don't have greed and you don't have lust and all this kind of stuff, there's something in that.
Yeah.
It's a good way to live your life, regardless of whether the Bible's true or whatever else. That is just a fundamental good way of living.
It's the greatest guard you will ever have in your life is the Bible.
There's some great stories in there.
No, there is some great stories. Whether you believe it or not, but as a guidebook, that is the greatest guide you will ever come across.
Yeah. So you've met your third main relationship, your third main partner. 12 years, couple of kids, and then suddenly, obviously, comes home, I don't love you anymore, gone.
Yeah.
How does that affect? Now, emotionally, you're hurting and everything else. But the thing is now you're a man at home with a house and responsibility and bills. So how do you now take all that on board? Because it's like we all get used to a certain way of living, don't we?
Yeah, you do, yeah.
And now suddenly someone's just decided, I'm going.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's so hard for go through. I was 48, and all of a sudden, your wife and kids are gone. You're single. At 48, at 18, I didn't think I'd meet anybody. So I'm 48 now. So and you just literally think, well, that's it. It's over. What's the point now? I'm 48. No.
At 48,
who else is going to be single at 48?
Are you thinking like that's it now?
No, yeah. I'm thinking that's it. You know, that's me done. I'll hang my boots up. Me retired.
Yeah.
You know.
Because isn't it funny how in one aspect you think of 48 as being old.
Yeah.
But if you actually think about it, I mean, especially today, it's nothing, is it?
No, it's not.
Like, and when we think of our grandparents, things like that, 50s and 60s, you thought they were old.
Yeah, you did.
But now I think we only think of old being 70 or 80.
Yeah, we do.
And even now there's young 70 or 80-year-olds.
Yeah, there is, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We said Rod Stewart. You know what I mean? He can't keep it in his pants. Still knocking kids out in his 70s.
Yeah.
But so what I want to do is, after you've gone through, how long do you think you was in a period of pain and hurting before you thought, I need to, like, you know, move on?
I think even when I first, because when you first go on a dating app, I think I was probably still in pain and hurting.
Yes,
but I think I wanted to move on quicker because I'd had these spells of being single for 6 years and then again being single for 6 years, and I thought, well, I'm 48, I cannot be single for 6 years. Can't do that now.
Yeah. And
so then you think, well, I need to move on.
But life's changed a lot in that period now, because now you found yourself single at 48, but now we've got all this technology where literally you could go on a dating app and there's somebody up the road who's also single or looking for love.
Yeah, and this is true. And depending on what kind of person you are, I mean, when I was younger, if I was, you know, I could not go and chat a woman up. I'd just be like, I couldn't get words out.
Yeah.
You know, so dating apps do make it easier for you to speak to someone. You know, you're a keyboard warrior, aren't you?
So what? I've never been on one.
No, I know.
Right.
I know
so the thing is, so what? You know, when you go on, I mean, I tell you what I've heard, like in program, like people lie. You know, like I'd go on and say, I'm only 14 stone when I'm really 17 stone.
I don't believe that.
But the thing is, so is that what you do? Do you put all your information in?
Yeah, you put your information in, and then
like your hobbies. I like football.
Yeah. You know, I like football, I like running.
And then do you put what type of person you're attracted to?
Yeah, as well. Yeah, you
like to get a match.
Categories in, and then you get a match, and then you might, hello, how you doing? And
so what's that?
Someone might not text you back, or someone might text you back.
So when it comes up on an app, you've got a match. Yeah. Does that feel good? Like, cause
you could. Well, first you think, oh, I've got a match. I'm doing all right. Wow.
Because that's a confidence thing.
Of course it is.
Because if you've gone suddenly, this is the thing. You're in your own home now. And now suddenly you've got something in front of you, like a keyboard or a computer, and it's saying, this person likes your picture, or they like what you're saying about yourself. There's a match. Yeah. And that's a confidence thing.
Of course it is. Yeah, you're like, oh, look at me, 48. And it is confidence. And then, you like I say, you might reach out, you might get a message back, you might not get a message back. So then there's another one. And then you flick again, and there's another, and and that's basically what people are doing.
So when there's a match, and then you basically say to each other, "Should we meet up and have a coffee or something?" Yeah,
yeah,
right. Is that now easier than when you're first meeting someone like at random, like in a supermarket? Because you've already
had a conversation.
So it does
on a phone.
You could understand how it could be a positive thing as well. These sites to bring people together who have never.
Yeah, definitely positive. The only problem is it's the intention of the people on the sites and you probably women have a lot more interesting stories on dating apps than men do.
Right.
Because usually you'll find it's the men one of the weirdos.
Right. Okay.
From women I've spoken to, it's the men that are the weirdos.
Because the safety thing.
Yeah. There is a man will think they can say anything to him. Anything sexual, which is wrong, and me, I would have manners, and I would never speak inappropriately to another woman, and a lot of stories. If you speak to women, they will have inappropriate stories.
So have you ever found this? I know it sounds. Have you ever had a chat or been matched and then you've gone to me because you had a few dates?
Oh yeah.
And have you ever gone and and they're not basically what's on the photo or the description?
Well, yeah, obviously, you get there and then you think, oh well, maybe it was.
So straight away you think
maybe that photo was 10 years ago and maybe it was 3 stone ago.
But maybe so are you thinking now that they're a liar? Because then that's not a good start, is it?
Well, no, it's not a good start. No,
because you've not been. Like, you wouldn't tell somebody you got a head full of hair and turn up bald, would you?
No. I just say, I had it whipped up this morning.
I used to have long hair. Yeah. I'm into 80s rock bands.
Yeah.
And now, I'm bald now, by the way.
Yeah, that was yesterday.
So the woman who's into long hair, that's going to come as a bit of a shock.
Yeah, it's going to be a real shock. Yeah. Real shock. And I do actually have a funny story that the fellow who told me about apps, he'd split up with his missus and he'd gone on the apps and he was in a relationship now, and he was telling me, he said you won't do that. He said you could meet some nice people, it doesn't have to be in romantic. You could just meet some nice people, and it starts you off there. And so I thought, oh right, yeah. And he told me a story. He once went, he'd been on the apps and there was a photo, and he thought, oh, she looks all right. She looks quite pleasant. Yeah, this blonde lady. So he chatting to her, and she liked him, and they arranged for a meeting. So anyway, they were meeting in Chester. So he catches the train down to Chester, and he's on the station, and he's waiting. He's looking about. Where is this woman? I've seen a blonde woman here. Anyway, he turns around and he's reading, I think, something. And then there's a tap on his back. And he turns around. And there's nobody there. So his eyes go down. And there's a woman, a shortish woman there, with dark hair. And she says, his name was Les. She says, Les? He went, yeah? He went, I'm Christine. And he looked at her and went, right. Hi, Christine. You don't look like your photo, do you? So, straight away, Christine's a little bit feisty. Straight away, she says, well, you're no fucking Brad Pitt, are you?
Oh.
So Les is in a situation where I think, right, I need to get out of this situation. So, I think we best call this date off. We've got off to a bad start.
Yeah.
You're not like your photo, love, and, it's not doing it for me. So then she attacks him.
No.
Physically attacks him.
No.
And starts hitting him. So then someone came over and tried for help, not him. And then British Transport Police came and they arrested him.
No way.
And they took him to cells. He explained the situation, and they had spoke to her. There was witnesses, and she'd been released. So he did say to him, he said, "Listen, if you're released, she might still be waiting around for me. She might attack me again." And police said, "Well, what you probably better doing is find out when your train back home is." And maybe walk around for a couple of hours in Chester until your train's coming in. So anyway, he came out and anyway he did start. He went out and he started walking around Chester and he just thought to himself, "Do you know what? No, I'll just get back. I'll get on that. I'll get that train station and I'll wait for that train." And luckily, he got his train home.
Days.
So
see, that would put you off dating.
Oh, that would really put you off. That would really, really put you off.
So the thing is, I mean, it must still happen. But like back in the day, people used to just go to a club or a bar or something, and then you'd get talking or through work. That's how you'd meet people, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But if you think about it, do you not think back in the day, we never really broadened our horizons? Like a lot of people met someone like school romance or someone in the area where they lived. But we never really, I think a part of growing up, we never really look outside the box.
No.
Because there's a big world out there full of.
I mean, you know yourself. You came from Midlands up into northwest of England. That's not something you were kind of like encouraged to do.
No.
You was encouraged just for maybe meet the girl from next street and
But
go out with her.
But why would that person who you've been brought up in the same area with the same thing? Why would that be your forever partner? We sort of, whereas I would now personally give that advice to my kids. Mm-hmm. Where listen, there's no rush. Mm-hmm. There's a big world out there. Yeah. Get to know people.
Yeah.
There's other countries. I mean, we've been to Sweden. Mm-hmm. And listen, Swedish people are very, very attractive, both men and women. Mm-hmm. They're and Scandinavian people by nature. I mean, everyone's got different tastes.
It
comes down to taste. But what I'm trying to get at is that there's a big world out there of different cultures, different ways of thinking about the world.
I mean, people don't even go out with somebody from another town.
No, how often are people? They're with the local pub. They leave school.
They meet somebody.
They meet someone in the local pub. Yeah. There's a gang of boys or girls. They all knew each other. Yeah. Sometimes you end up going out with someone who actually went out with one of your friends first, and then suddenly you.
Yeah. That is it. But I do think with dating apps now, I do think that people are more susceptible to going out with people from different areas because you have so many mile radius that you can go in. So, for where we are, you're close to Liverpool, close to Manchester.
I think it could be very positive in the way, if you said, look, I like running, I like looking after myself, I'm into health and fitness, I love football, and basically, if a woman's scrolling through that and she hated football, she hated health and fitness, then straight away you could say, well, belting. Whereas if you just met each other in a bar and there was an actual physical attraction, then suddenly you might think that's love.
Yeah.
But then what happens is 3 months into a relationship, then you start thinking, We've got nothing in.
Yeah. And she's saying he's always going football. He's always playing football.
And I might be wrong because I'm sure it works both ways. But I think this is what happens in relationships: is they think they can change each other.
I think, and I think if you talk to women, I think women think they can change a man, and I think women spend too long with someone, even get married, go through and have kids, and they still think they can change that man. And then this could be going on 10, 15 years. Yeah. And then I think they realise they never can't change. Never going to change.
Yeah. See,
but what happens is, and this is true, what happens is that man never changes for that woman. And then they split up. 12 months later, that man's getting married to another woman, and he is a totally different man.
That happens a lot.
He changes
for
that woman. So he had no intention of changing for his
true.
First wife.
But also, I have to add on there, because I think women sometimes give men too much credit, because I don't think men think that deeply. As in, like a woman might want to change a man. Like, oh, do you know what? I know he likes football now, but I'll get him to come shopping with me. Yeah. Whereas a man, I don't think he ever sits there and thinks, I'm going to change the woman.
No, I don't think he does.
Men are quite like, just do what you want, as long as you're happy, just whatever. Yeah. I think a man, or what I think, like, again, I'm probably speaking from my own personal experience. For me, my drive's always been about career and money and trying to build something. Mm-hmm. And if the missus said to me, I'm going out this weekend or I'm going shopping, yeah, whatever. As long as you're happy, whatever. Yeah. I've never wanted to change my partner.
I don't think men do want for change.
Yeah, we're quite laid back in a way.
I do think women definitely try to change a man. Yeah. But unless that man's willing to change for that woman, it's not going to happen. Yeah, it's not going to happen. You hear of people, two partners, man smokes. For years and years, she goes, hey, that's smoking, hey, that's 10 years. No, never stopping for him. Split up, meet someone new, he stopped smoking.
Do you know what? What's it called? I brought this in, which I'm intrigued now. I've got you here, and we're talking about this, right? So, if you classed yourself as you'd see yourself as a good person with good morals. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't want to ever hurt a person, if you like. And then we're having a bit of deja vu. Why am I asking you these questions? Anyway, but then definitely when they're younger, women, they sort of want the bad boy. They sort of want the local dickhead, if you like. And you know full well in 10 years and 50 that he's still going to be the knobhead. But then what happens is, so when they're younger, they sort of chase this excitement. Mm-hmm. But as they grow older and then they want to nest and have children, suddenly they want the man who would have been the good catch. Mm-hmm. Isn't it weird? Because almost then, I think a lot of women are missing out on the good men. Because when they were younger,
it's a young age. At a young age, I do. Yeah, at a young age, I do, because like you said, they think, oh, he's got a flashy car, a bit more exciting.
Well, because when you're younger, if you've got good morals, I think sometimes that can come across as they think you're boring.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Like if you turn around and said, listen, I just want to look after you, love you, protect you. Yeah. I don't
be a
good man, if you like. And I think some women, when they're younger, they see that as boring. Yeah. But yet, when they're older, because how many times do you then see a really beautiful woman who there's no way they would be with that older gentleman and the way he looks. Yeah. But it's because of his bank balance. Mm-hmm. Or it's because, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you do see that, yeah.
And you're just like, it's so fake.
That is. I mean, you do. We know ourselves, don't we? You get the.
Do you think that's kids? Kids do that to a woman. Like they want security and for their children. They like a woman wants a good nest, don't they?
Yeah, they do. But if you look at like, obviously, you have like all the British men, and they have a lot of the wives are from Thailand.
Yeah, you
get this now, and you question, well, can that really be love?
Is that not just the lust and the sex or something?
Maybe from a British man, and maybe from the woman it's the security, because obviously life's harder in Thailand. That is not love.
Do you think though? There's a lady I think her name's Pearl something. I'd love to have a chat with her because I think she's great, but she speaks from a woman's perspective, but she seems to defend the men, right? And she'll openly say, but like a woman might have her kids and everything else, and it's almost like the man will feel like there's nothing here for me anymore. It's like I'm literally just going out to work, paying the bills. Like the woman sort of like, she's not interested in like all the intimacy and all the keeping things, the spark alive. It's almost like, well, I've got everything I want now. Yeah. I've got my house, I've got the car, I've got the kids. I'm okay. And then, do you not think that's where the man then thinks, I'm bored?
Possibly, yeah.
And I'm not condoning it, but and is that when it goes off?
That is possibly. It could be like that. There's never an excuse, is there? There's never an excuse. But you can walk away.
Yeah.
We all have our free will.
You can, but again, I think that does come back. I think one of the hardest things to do in the world is probably walk away from a relationship.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
I think a lot of people would say probably there's certain things in life like moving house or relationships ending and all. They're just like monumental things in your life, aren't they? Like losing a parent. It's like to certain people, it's like the end of the world.
Yeah.
And in a relation, so and also as well, it's like you don't really if you've loved someone for 20 or 30 years, you don't want to like see them in pain.
No, you don't. No.
But there's also pain in sticking around together when there's nothing there.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is.
And I think kids, when you speak, they pick up on that as well.
But I think there are relationships like that. I think there are relationships like that where maybe there is nothing there, and that is a waste.
But we know couples as well, and I know you probably who I'm thinking of, but they're off cheating and doing their thing. He's off cheating and doing his thing, but yet they're still.
Yeah.
They come together. They come together.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
I just don't. I don't get that.
Yeah, that happens as well.
So
but maybe that's financial. Maybe that's we'll just.
But because is it the fear of the not that going whatever that is that bubble that bubble of being together forever.
Maybe it is. But the fundamental thing there is not love.
No, it's not. Isn't it?
It's not love. Love is emotion. Love is attachment. Love is there.
Yeah.
It's not love.
So obviously that you could argue, so it's your heart that is actually picking up on frequencies and vibrations and feelings and emotions and all that. And if that's the case, can your heart be broken by not, with love and everything else? And also because you hear about people who die of a broken heart.
Yeah.
And do you think that's possible?
Yeah. Because I think when people have been, they're old and they've been together. Maybe they met each other when they were 20, and now they're in their 80s. And then you find the wife dies or the husband dies, and then the other one dies like maybe a week later.
Yeah,
definitely.
Do you think it's a broken heart?
Definitely. Yeah. Without a doubt. Yeah, because to be able to go on must be so hard. You think my nan, she, my granddad died. She was on her own for 20 years after my granddad died. 20 years.
Yeah.
On her own.
Yeah. Because
she'd married my granddad. That commitment was there. 20 years without him. That must be so hard.
Yeah, and I mean, and they do say women cope better than men do.
Yeah, I think they probably do.
I think. But I think of my partner's grandparents and everything. They're there, but they're never the same again, are they?
No.
When you've lost that love, because I think in people's head, they have this thing of being, on a rocking chair, both in their old age, holding hands, and probably just both going to sleep one day together.
Yeah.
I think
that'd be perfect. That's the perfect. If you're gonna die,
that's what everybody
if you're
wants.
gonna die,
I think,
and you love your partner, you want to die, that's perfect.
Yeah, because a lot of people have a fear of loneliness.
Yeah,
of being alone.
Yeah, I can understand. I can understand that.
Yeah, and for some people that is a really horrible. It's a real fear for them. The fear of, and I wonder sometimes like after divorce, people quickly jump into relationships because they think I don't want to be on the shelf. I don't want to be alone.
Yeah, definitely.
And instead, they probably should have took that time to, learn some more about themselves. Really, find out what they really want.
Yeah.
But again, so I think sometimes we can be guilty of jumping into relationships for the wrong reasons.
Definitely, yeah.
When do you think? What about love at first sight? Are you someone who believes in love at first sight?
It's never happened to me, so I can't.
It's not happened to me. Well, I say it's not happened to me. I'll just give you a quick recap. I went on a lads' holiday. I was in Benidorm, and we got lost. We couldn't find our hotel.
Yeah.
We ended up in the middle of a building site. Walking the other way, two women.
Yeah.
Two 19-year-old women. And we'd had a few drinks over. They'd got lost. They couldn't find their hotel room. Yeah. Right? So now what happened is my maid got talking to one of the girls and I just sat down on the curb. Mm-hmm. Right? I just wanted to go home. I just wanted to go to bed. The other girl...
She's not like you.
No. That's not like no, normally I wouldn't stay out. But it was late. It was early hours of the morning. This other lady, she comes and sits down at the side of me. And I turns to say hello, because obviously I'm not rude. Mm-hmm. And I looked at her and I thought, wow.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that is love at first sight, but it was definitely wow. You know, like,
maybe it is because it's
that initial. Now, I always say, the thing is from that, so there's an attraction. Mm-hmm. Well, that's what it is initially, isn't it? Yeah. It's like you are attractive. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I definitely had that moment. If someone said, "No, that's love at first sight," well, then I'd have to say, "Well, I suppose I have then." Yeah. But I've never thought of it like that. But then the weird thing, what happened then is we walked them home to their hotel, and I actually said to her, and she must have thought I was a weirdo. She must have found me on a dating app. And I literally said to her, whoa, I had deja vu. And I said, this is weird, this. And she said, what do you mean? And I said, I feel like we've done all this before. And I said, in a minute, a lizard runs out of the bushes and comes straight across us. And before I finished my sentence, this lizard comes scurrying out and she just looked at me as if to say, now, over the years, now we think, fate did everything. I mean, what's the because she wasn't supposed to be in Benidorm, and I was actually coming out of a relationship, and this girl who I was in at the time did everything for me not to go on that. Yeah. There's so many things that we shouldn't have collided that night.
But you did.
But we did.
So really, you should have collided that night.
So was it
that is destiny?
And his life always. So even though we go through all these heartaches and pains and everything. But like you would say now, because you're going through a period of happiness, you would say, I can take all the pain for this.
Yeah. If someone says to me, listen, God says to me, you're going to have to go through this to get to this. And this is how good this will be. You would do it. Yeah. But it's the not knowing.
No.
And that's why you would not want to go through it. Now, I don't need ask why now.
Yeah.
I know why.
Yeah.
And why I've been through all that, I know why. So when I get up to them gates, I don't have to say to God, why? Yeah. I understand now.
Yeah. And also we don't know the intricacy of the universal web. Mm-hmm. Like, because a human life is only very short in the grand scale of things. Your kids, what you've had with these other women, and if not them, their kids, they could be future, like, world changers. You just don't know, do it?
No, we don't know how things work.
That's what I'm saying.
No. So maybe you're putting that place for that specific reason.
Yeah. And that's quite romantic in itself. The fact that everything had to align for you to meet? Because we've said this before, 6 months earlier, you and your current partner, it wouldn't have worked.
No, things were not aligned. I mean, even going to, I would often, I said, oh God, I wish I'd met you early. I couldn't have done. Logistically, I couldn't have done. Was in different countries.
Yeah. But and also as well, the way you treat this relationship now, maybe you wouldn't give it that same focus and attention if you wouldn't have gone through what's happened previous.
Exactly.
Because I think in relationships, we can all be a bit guilty of, oh, I can't be bothered, I'll just watch the football today, or, oh, I've got work, or, oh, I can't be arsed taking the kids out. And so we can become a bit complacent.
Yeah.
You know, I think we have to look at ourselves there. We're all guilty of that. But maybe now in a fresh relationship, you think, not doing that again.
And that's exactly so I know I am a different person.
So your priorities change, don't they?
I'm a different person now to what I was then.
Yeah. And that's why this relationship might work and it wouldn't have worked before.
Exactly.
So there's so many ripples that have to all play out.
Because it is, and life is that journey. And love is that journey.
Yeah. Something I wanted to ask you about journeys and also love. So years ago, we're going back quite a few years now, you took yourself off for a past life regression. Mm-hmm. Now, what always sticks out to me from that story is, in each of the past lives that you went to, they all had a recurring theme.
Yeah, they did.
And it was all connected with love. And each one had tragedy, connected to it. Yeah. Now, there's different ways I've thought about this over the years. I've thought, because is our brain, a bit like when we have a dream. Mm-hmm. The dream is playing out the subconscious and everything else. So when you were under that hypnotic state, it could be that the brain was playing out your worries, fears, and everything that was happening in your life. Mm-hmm. You've had like a couple of failed marriages, relationships, that kind of stuff. So your brain, because when we look at a dream, you'd like, dreams are not straightforward, are they? There's certain people in the dreams.
Everything's weird.
Yeah. So that was my one way of trying to work out past life regression. Mm-hmm. The other way of looking at it is they actually were past lives. Mm-hmm. And you have carried this pain and this thing through, each life until you finally dealt with it.
Yeah, possibly.
Now, what's your thoughts on that? Because you always say to me, it's like a real memory in your head now.
Yeah. It is. It is when I think about it now. It's like I've got these memories in my head, and it is possible because there was pain in these lives, and so maybe it is a lesson. Maybe it is a lesson that maybe we have lived these lives, and we've made them mistakes. And we've suffered that pain.
Because like people say, don't they? Like if you don't learn the mistake, you come back and do it again and do it again. Until because I always look at this, and I know it's a bit weird, but like as you look at your parents and your grandparents, there's a lot of similarities in your lives to what mirrors their lives.
Yeah.
Now, and we bring things through with us with our DNA.
Yeah.
Whether that's health or personality and all the rest of it. And every generation, all we can try and do is try and be a bit better than the one before.
Yeah.
And try and make less mistakes or try and alter things. But that's sort of a bit like past lives as well. We're just trying to break the pattern of behaviour.
Yeah.
So because I always say, like now, I have a relationship with my kids where we can talk about anything. I'll tell them I love them, cuddle them. Mm. I never had none of that. Growing up, my dad never told us he loved us. We never even had a conversation. And obviously I didn't know Maria. So I would like to think, well, do you know what? Because I know, for me, I've broke that chain now.
Yeah.
I know, my kids now will never know that to be any different.
No.
So when they have kids, of course they'll be affectionate.
They'll have that affection.
Because they've never... So I always look at it like, look, I know the past pain of my dad, his dad, all the... And I thought, I'm going to break that. Mm. And I think that's where sometimes people get the thing of the black sheep in the family. Or, because you're like, now, I'm going to be the one who takes this on. Mm. Do you know what I mean? They're just...
I had a different upbringing. I brought up with love. I knew we were loved. So I've always passed my love on.
Yeah.
Passed my affection on. So for me, I've just carried on.
Yeah.
Which is totally different.
And because the thing is as well, right, like, I could definitely be a different type of person, as in people would say, oh, you're like you are because you were never shown any love. But I don't, and I think this might have something to do with all my spiritual experiences, because I don't search for love. I don't, even though I never had it, I don't feel like I'm missing it. Like, I've never had any intentions to want to track down my real mum. My dad died. I had literally one day of like real gagging, as in like, oh, my dad's dead. That's it. I'm very like, right, it's done now. You know, I don't need to let this bother me. But I think that also comes from a lot of the spiritual stuff that I've come across, as in like, there's a lot more going on here. There's a bigger picture. Yeah. You don't have to get so down in the, in the feelings and the emotions. You just have to sort of accept it, and then move on from it. Yeah. Because we can't bring them back. It's not going to change anything. We can't change the past. And a lot of people's fears and anxieties and everything else come from the future. So they're not... That's why, for me, it makes sense that we live in the now. And that's why, like, when I said to you, are you happy and in love today?
Yes.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That is, yeah.
And on Valentine's Day, if you're looking at it and you're happy and you're looking at it and you love that, that's all that matters, is that day, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
You're living that now.
You can only live that day. You can only take that day. We can only take today.
Because tomorrow's not guaranteed anyway.
No, it's not. No. So you can only take today. You can only say, am I in love today? Am I at peace? And I do have and I've never ever had this. I have a sense of peace within me. And I've never had that in any relationship. But I have a sense of peace.
Do you think that initial brick in the water, that ripple that caused everything, was that first relationship?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. That first
relationship. Because up until that, you had love, you had a good upbringing, you had no reason not to trust.
It kind of changed my life.
So in some ways, our life can get completely took off track.
Yeah.
Without us ever
with a bad experience.
With a real bad, but it could play out for the next 30 years of your life.
Of course it can, yeah. Of course it did. Because love is the strongest emotion.
Yeah.
That can affect you so much. Yeah. It really can affect you so much.
Well, I think it plays because the ripple effect is it affects every area of your life.
Yeah, it does.
Work, kids, pleasure, everything. It affects everything, doesn't it?
If you've got problems in a relationship, which affect love and affect your heart, you go out to work in the morning and you carry that. Yeah. Carry that energy with you. That negative energy. Yeah. If you've got worries.
Yeah. And it's like an invisible stress as well, isn't it? So you're carrying this pain, but you could be going into work and smiling and telling everybody morning.
Yeah.
And they don't know the pain that you're in.
They don't know you're in pain. They don't know if you've got that anxiety. They don't know anything. No. It is such a strong emotion, good and bad.
Put you on the spot a little bit here. What advice, if you were talking to, say, your kids or someone younger, is there any advice that you would take from your experiences and everything, what you could pass on?
Don't get involved with women.
Don't get involved.
Don't get involved with women. That's what I'm
Just don't get involved in relationships.
Don't get involved. I don't think you can give advice.
Because you never really know what the other one's thinking or going to do, and so you can't plan for the perfect relationship.
No, you can't, and you can't. Who your kids choose to fall in love with, is down to them. Yeah, and that relationship will be totally different to any one that I've had.
Yeah. That's a big thing, isn't it? You can't choose who you love, as in like you can't have your emotions. If your parents could say to you, "Look, I think that's a mistake." Yeah. But that overriding feeling of love, the kid will turn his back on his parents' advice
Oh yeah,
Even
yeah,
turn his back
he
on
will.
his parents.
Yeah.
Because at the
of course he will.
time,
yeah, of course he will.
that's all they can focus on.
Yeah.
They
And
think
we've all been young, and you know that. No, there's nothing up with this girl.
Yeah.
And then 6 months down the line, your mum and dad were out.
Yeah.
But that's your learning experience. That's your life.
You have to go through it, don't you?
Everybody. The unfortunate thing is unless you're extremely lucky, you will see your children in pain.
Yeah. That's
unless
hard as
you're
a parent.
extremely lucky.
Yeah.
And that is a really hard
I think
thing.
sometimes as a parent, you know what's coming.
Yeah, you do.
And you want to try and protect your kids from that pain, but also I know it's going to come.
Yeah.
It's very unlikely the first relationship's going to be the one. Do you know what I mean?
And how many people does anybody know who, you met someone at 16, 17 and they're still together and they've had this perfect relationship?
Yeah, I can think of one person.
I can only think of one person.
We're both thinking of the same person. I think is that we should give a shout out to Jeff.
That's the only person I've ever come across.
He literally did have. If God was sent an angel down to have the perfect life of everything, he sent Jeff, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
That he's the only man I can think of. But also, again, that's only our perception.
Yeah, it is.
And that's a big thing as well, isn't it? It's only we can see things. Because I always say this as well, you never know what's going on behind closed doors.
No, you don't.
So we could have an opinion on someone's relationship, but behind closed doors, they could. It works. It works. And it could also be the opposite.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you feel about this, because I think you're like a touchy person, aren't you? Mm-hmm. Where I'm not. Mm. Now, so again, difference of a fix. So if I see someone in public, touchy, I think it's fake. Honestly, that's my own perception. So, like, if I see, I've been in people's houses where they're literally kissing each other, and I'm like, honestly,
now
you're the opposite.
I'm totally opposite. I don't think it is fake. I'm touchy, and
because some people might see it as I love them.
Yeah.
And I'm not scared to...
Yeah, you're not scared to show it.
Whereas I always think it's like, who are you trying to convince, me or yourselves? Yeah. But now, you're not wrong, but do you know what I mean? That's... And I don't think I'm not... It's just a completely different...
Is that because of what you've seen when you was younger? Because you weren't around maybe affection?
It could be. And again, the ripple effect of somewhere along your line as a child, that will be playing out.
I was around affection. Mum, aunties, they would grab you and kiss you and things like that. So I was around affection. So that is completely normal to me. It's not normal not to show affection to me.
Yeah.
If you see a couple and they're not holding hands or they're not, there's no touching, I'm thinking, oh God, that's not good.
And that's weird, isn't it? So what happens if two people come together and one's affectionate and the other one's not? Then that's a lot. They've got to learn to.
Well, I can only speak for myself.
Because you might see that then as rejection.
Yeah. You can. You can see. You can take it personally. I would say myself with my girlfriend. I've just probably worn her down. It's as simple as that.
We're holding hands. I'm kissing you in public. You're having it.
Just keep pouring it, and then eventually you will. Well, someone has to win.
Yeah.
And fortunately for me,
but again, as communication is key in relationships, isn't it? Because it's like if you told your partner, say, look, every time I go to hold your hand and you brush it off, it's hurting me. It's feeling like rejection. Now they might be someone who go, oh, don't be silly. Yeah. Right, but you'd be like, but listen.
But you have to get that across. There has to be.
Yeah.
When you're together, and what you have to remember is every relationship you have will have been different.
Yeah, 100%.
So how she was with her ex will be different to how she is with me.
Yeah. Because
that's what relationships are different.
Yeah, you do adjust. Everyone adjusts.
Yeah. It takes time for it to adjust, but every relationship, you can't be in a relationship that has failed and then go into another relationship and do the same things that have failed you in that one.
Because that's how it's going to...
Because it will fail.
Yeah.
So you have to change. And other people will bring something out of you.
Yeah.
They will. No matter what, they will bring it out to you.
Do you think in relationships it's important to keep pushing each other to grow? Because I've always been a thing, I don't think you should hold your partner back. You should let them be as much as they want to be. But also as well, we have to be careful, obviously. You don't want them to suddenly just bugger off for 6 months.
I think you do have to support, but I think, you don't want them just buggering off for 6 months, then coming back and thinking everything's okay.
Yeah, because because you see these like power couples and who are constantly thriving and pushing, but maybe it's because they're into the same thing. Because like you see like actors and actresses getting together, and it's great for 6 months, but then they're going off doing this film, and then ultimately they cheat and that happens because you have to have some togetherness, and you have to obviously. Mine's I don't live close to my girlfriend, so you have to put that effort in to see each other. And people always put the effort in at the start.
That's true. If you love somebody, you'll always put that effort in.
And that's what I'm saying. So there'll always be a point. We talked about this before. There's a point where the people stop making that effort. Mm-hmm. Something must happen.
Yeah.
Or they get complacent.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you another thing I've noticed as well, like in relationships, when you think everything's really good, suddenly you might put on a bit of weight. Mm-hmm. You stop looking after yourself. You're eating the takeaways. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's almost like you become complacent.
This is true as well, yeah.
Now, the thing is, if your partner fell in love with the fella who was 14 stone, looked after himself, blah, 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 and now suddenly he doesn't make any effort, he doesn't, he doesn't groom himself, it doesn't, suddenly you can understand where they're like, well, that's not really what I fell in love with.
You can understand that.
And they could say, but you've changed. Mm. Do you know what I mean? And I think that can be difficult, and that can work both ways as well.
Of course it can, yeah. Yeah, of course it can.
Yeah. So you couldn't, is it a thing where, because we've changed why we've been in this relationship, now we're not having the same attraction and the same feelings because we think, well, look, you're not the person that I fell in love with.
That just come down to effort.
Yeah, but if you really love someone, it shouldn't really matter what they look like. We get older. Yeah,
I mean, it's. I think it's probably obviously. Me and you like chalk and cheese. I'm nearly 2 years in this relationship, but she doesn't know me with her.
No.
So that's not going to matter, is it?
No.
You had her. You were slimmer. You were younger. You were fitter.
And I've thought this myself. Like I always think now. Like my missus was struck down a couple of years ago with diabetes and everything else, and she was never big anyway. Yeah. But now she's lost even more weight. She's looking really good, and she's more active and all that. And I've thought this myself, like, I wonder if my missus looks at me and thinks, Now, because she loves me because we've been together so long, but I think if we met in a bar tonight, I don't think she looks twice.
Well, I've known you a long time. I look at you and I go,
Exactly. No, but could you understand? So, and I think that's a responsibility of me because I've been lazy.
Yeah.
But I think, but there's a difference. We've been lazy. But life can make us lazy because when people don't know what else is going on in your life.
No, they don't. No.
So when you've got stress or kids might be ill or whatever, suddenly your health and your looking after yourself is no longer a priority. Mm-hmm. It seems to come second to life. But then over the years, so like I said now, like, hey, if you're carrying weight, you've gone bulge, you've got, suddenly you could understand where your missus is saying, well, not really the catch that you once was. I'm not attracted to you like I once was.
Yeah.
But yet, then you're still together because of that love, what you've been through.
It's the love that you've built.
Because you've been through
it's
everything.
It's your personality. It's who you were.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do think that. I think after the initial attraction, because I think there has to be some.
There's layers. You take the layers. There's initial attraction. There is, but then there's layers.
And then you get to know people.
As you start peeling back them layers, that's when you really love someone. When you really fall in love with somebody.
Yeah. And you love everything about them, what they've done for you, and then it's a different type of love. You love someone because they've had your children.
Yeah.
Now, like, I think you can love someone but not be in love with them because you've had that connection, you've had that bond.
I think you initially everybody falls in love.
Yeah.
Right, and then you're in love. In love is better than falling in love.
Yeah.
Whether you can love someone for having your children, maybe you because you're still together. I don't love anyone who's had my children.
Yeah, but again, I said this is the difference. Because I'm still with the person, maybe that's why. Mm-hmm. Maybe I would feel differently if we wasn't.
Yeah.
See, I'd always look at it like, would you die for your children? And the answer is yes. And would you die for your partner? And in my case, it would be yes. Right? So it's like, I think that's the way I would, I look at things. Like, I would lay my life down for my kids and my partner. Now, obviously, your ex-partners, you probably would say...
You'd say,
I'm going to give that... I don't think so. Listen, I've got a spare kidney, but I'm not giving it you anymore. Yeah. But when you were married, you would have given him the kidney.
Different circumstances.
It is weird.
Different circumstances, aren't they?
And what about people who they are married and they fall out and they hate each other for whatever reason, and then years later they become best friends again?
You do get that.
You see that?
You do it, and they go and get married to other people, but they're still friendly.
Because I find that completely like what?
That is awful.
It's a baffler.
Yeah.
I find, and like some of them are really like, it's like, you could say it's very mature. Yeah. They're like friends.
Yeah. They talk to each other and as though they're really good friends, and it's like, I think that depends on who you are.
Yeah.
Who you were.
I think you have to get to a certain stage.
What passed, what's happened, and that's
because normally a lot of relationships end and there's usually like some bitterness.
And there usually is.
There's usually like a lot of anger or bitterness, and then that could subside. And I think if you have got children, you have to find some common ground.
Yeah, you do. You have to still talk. You can't not talk.
You've got to put the kids first
because you've got kids.
Yeah.
But there comes a day when maybe you don't have to talk because kids grow up.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true, and then ultimately, then you're just a past partner.
Yeah. That's,
you're not family, as in like you're not my brother or sister or my dad.
You're nothing. The only connection is that child.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
and everything's gone.
Would you marry again?
I remember once. I got married and I got divorced. I remember once saying to you, "I will never get married again." And then I got married again. So I will never ever say, I will never get married again.
You can never say never, can you?
Never ever say never. No, you can't. And I know some people will be horrified. God, getting married again. You can never say it.
Because it's that commitment to that person.
What you say.
Yeah. No, is more kids out the question now because of your age and everything now? Or is that still a possibility?
Well, if Rod Stewart can do it, why can't I?
Well, how old's your partner?
43.
Is that a conversation what you've even had?
No. It's not something where I don't think you're not looking for a set family at 43.
No.
You've got 6 kids between you.
Well, the thing is, if they've already got kids, they're probably that's not like your second marriage. You already had children.
I already had, yeah.
But then she wanted children.
Yeah, and that is different. That is different.
Yeah. And then obviously then you'd be like, well, yeah, I'm going to have children with you because you want children. Yeah. But now, this relationship now, she's already got children, you've already got children. Yeah. There probably isn't that need now to say, look, let's create, let's co-create,
let's start a family.
But that commitment of maybe getting engaged to each other or married, just to bond that relationship.
That is different, isn't it? Yeah. It's different, but you can never ever say never because it can come back and bite you. You could eat humble pie, like I have had to.
Yeah. Well, on that note, with all the love in the world, I think that is the end of this podcast. Relationships, love, Valentine's Day, and to all the people out there who are having a romantic evening, hope you've enjoyed this episode and wish you all the love in the world.
Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.